Hello there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Formula Pod. And today we are talking all about the Mexican Grand Prix. I know last week with the race in Austin, we couldn't make it because life has been taking such an interesting toll in our lives. So we couldn't make it there. But then here we are again. If not, we try and ensure that the second race we don't miss it. So yeah, here it is, and joining me today, of course, we've got Nathan. No, sorry, Nathan, the Ferrari fan, is not there today, but we've got here and Rishruti joining us from London. So, like, yeah, hello guys, and how has it been going? How's life going on?
A lot. Everything hurts. My back hurts and I'm too sleepy, but we move on because Formula One is the only thing that's taking me through this entire thing.
That's commitment. Things are going pretty well, man. Just a bit tired. Obviously, it's winter time in the UK. It's a bit cold now, but I think we should get on to Mexico.
And to be fair,
And
it's sad that Nathan isn't here because Ferrari have had two wonderful weekends.
and yeah, talking about the Mexican Grand Prix. To be very honest, I actually had low expectations for this race, but then it
What?
just kind of rewrote everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know how to even say this, but I thought, okay, I'll just watch for like the first hour and then go to sleep because the race over here was at 12 a.m. and all the way until 2 a.m. And I had to wake up for my gym session at 6. So I was like, okay, let me just not sacrifice my sleep, at least watch that one bit and then go to sleep. But yeah,
You have
I ended up
have
watching
you?
the full race. Like, the only part I didn't watch this time was Carlos Sainz getting up to the podium, like in the
Which
fancy
was
way,
quite bad.
in the Mexican way. I didn't do that, but like, yeah, just other than that, I've watched everything else. And for me personally, as a race, this was a 10 on 10. What do you guys think?
I loved it. This was the first race that I introduced Formula One to with my flatmates, which was honestly, in my opinion, the best race one can show. Right?
Of
From
course.
beginning till the end, the whole battle with Max and Carlos, and then the first turn when Yuki goes off and Albon hits that. Just to start off with that was just. I feel bad for them, yes, but the whole incident, it literally showed each and every single thing about F1 there is to show, and it
Mhm.
was amazing. You know, seeing Bert Malanda coming in two races in a row after like not coming in for like nine, it was nice to see him again, but not so nice because of the situation he was in.
Of course.
And yeah, that whole the Merc battle and the issue with Lando and Max again going at it as they usually do every weekend, and
I think we'll
Charles
we'll
and
discuss
Lando,
that in depth in the as
yeah,
we reach more down
everything,
to
like each and
episodes of.
every single place, be it the front runners or the back or the middle, there was something going on everywhere, and that's what we loved about this race.
Mihir,
There's nothing
what do you think as a race as a whole?
Honestly, Mexico is one track. And to be honest, I'm very unbiased about tracks here, but all Formula One tracks are outstanding, But
Mhm.
Mexico, particularly, has a really good drama filled race due to its corners, a few straight lines that they have. And Mexico has always been the race to happen, also because it's end of the season. So, whenever it's end of the season tracks and races, things get more intense just to get those extra points. And Mexico proved himself. Obviously, we had a lot of drama, a lot of drama that we'll get into the episode in detail. But particularly Max, Lewis, George Russell, Yuki.
Mm.
So a lot of things happened, and I'm very pleased to see that Ferrari is doing really well. I wish Nathan was here for me to say this. And it's also a good sign because obviously Lewis is transferring his final few years into his, well, a child's favorite Formula One team, Ferrari. And I think it's a very good sign from Ferrari coming pretty much fast. We'll get into the details more in the episode, but this is what the synopsis is of the Mexican Grand Prix.
All right, all right. So speaking about the big elephant in the room was Max Verstappen. For the first time seeing him getting 20-second time penalty, I was like, finally someone had the guts to give him penalty.
Honestly.
Like to be very honest, personally, I felt a lot more. What do you call satisfied seeing that in the first place.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, you know what? This is so nice. But again, it's to be very honest, I don't know, was that driving all because he's frustrated that his car cannot deliver it or what it was? Because I felt it was more like he was on a very frustrated drive and he's like, okay, I'm in no position. Especially when GP gave him on radio saying, Max, you've got a 20-second penalty. He's like, oh, okay. Like, it's more like he's given up in the car.
Yeah. It was like, I guess that's that. Like, he knows that he's making a mistake, and he's like, okay, fine, I deserve it, yes, but like, I've given up on you, I've given up on the team, I've given up on the car. And I mean, if that's the way he want to go, if that's the way he wants to go, then fine. But there was not clean racing at all from his side. Definitely not.
Okay, my thoughts on this is very simple.
Mhm.
Yes, Max is a wonderful, very aggressive driver, and Red Bull hasn't been performing their best. Obviously, we saw, I'm comparing Red Bull with the beginning of the year where they were flying by. And I think Max is frustrated because he wants to get into that mind space, into that winning space, and right now they're not really achieving what they were expecting. So I absolutely agree with what Max is going through because obviously when you have a winning streak and you keep losing for, let's say, any other circumstance which is not under your control, you can't really do anything about it, can you? At that point, you could potentially, if it's fixable in the next let's say 30 seconds by Red Bull, but clearly that wasn't the case in this situation. But yeah, I think finally somebody spoke and told Max that you got a penalty, which is, I don't know why is there always. I don't think we should give Max or Red Bull a penalty. I think everyone should be equal, and this is how Formula One should be. What do you think, Arjun? Do you think? Well, Arjun, I have a very important question to ask. Even Wish,
Yeah.
do you think FIA is very biased towards a few teams?
You know, with all the experiences which I've been seeing lately, yes. Again,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen every other team on the grid get penalized. Like the extreme harsh we have seen is with Haas, where the guy ended up getting what do you call a race ban. But
Yeah.
with what do you call with Red Bull, that's never been a case. Like this for this race particularly, I feel Red Bull was scrutinized quite like to the point because Sergio Perez got a 5-second time penalty, Max got a
Mhm.
20-second time penalty. Like if like they didn't care at the moment. I feel like they because initially I feel like they were just thinking, oh, he's world champion, let's give him a
Yeah.
bit of a leniency. But I feel like now that concept is disappearing because you've got a fast approaching McLaren and a fast approaching Ferrari, kind of managing to kind of make this championship fight a lot more interesting.
But that's the thing, Arjun. That should not exist, right? The fact that Max is a front runner and Red Bull are the like front running constructors should not affect the FIA's decision on giving them a 20-second penalty or a 5-second penalty.
Well, again, I just gave my thoughts in the first place because this is not like to all the listeners out there. This is not something that what do you call we are accusing of FI. This is what I personally feel. So again, please don't count this to me accusing FIA, but it's more like how I'm sharing my thoughts and my observations over the past few races. Just
Yeah.
letting everyone know there. But yeah, but I was really interested actually when Lando Norris came vocally about Max's driving. So let's give it a listen.
I always go into the races and I expect good battles and fair battles, and of course, I expect a tough battle with Max. This just, I don't want to complain about it, because I really, this is what I love. I love going into races and knowing like we're going to have a good battle today and he's going to put up a good fight and all of those things. And I look forward to it, but things like today are just a bit too far, in my opinion, and obviously in the stewards' opinions too. And I'd say probably the majority of people's opinions. and that's just not how I think many people like to go racing. But I respect Max a lot. I want to race hard against him, but yeah, if I didn't do what I did today and avoid him, I'd probably be out of the race. So it's tough, but I played my cards well. I knew what to expect in many ways, and yeah, points are good for me at the minute, and we'll just keep our heads down.
So, like, yeah, as you guys heard, Lando Norris saying that this type of racing is definitely not acceptable. Again, Max, we know Max for the past couple of years, very aggressive driving. He got the fastest car, but I feel this year 2024, after his streak of winning races, it has just been like that team out of all teams are spiraling down when all the other teams are pushing to the front. Let's give for example, even what do you call, not even Red Bull, even RB, the Visa Cat We Cub, both the teams are falling down. You've got, like, what do you call, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes. Again, I don't even want to comment about it because they're in their own zone. You've got Williams, you've got a Haas, Aston Martin. Again, I don't even want to say about that.
They
And Kick Sauber doesn't even exist at the moment on points.
still, they don't have a
Again,
point.
I actually expected them getting some point because I saw Valtteri Bottas and Pete, and I'm like, is it going to end? At least they're going to get
Finally,
one
after 20
point
days.
to
Yeah.
save their dignity. Guess what? He didn't.
They really still need to figure out what's wrong with them because honestly, not the best.
No, I feel like the car is kind of messed up at this rate. But anyways, coming back to this, what should as okay, you have watched the full race, and as you have, what do you call, seen that move when Lando Norris was going to do, and then Max just defends out, and then Lando was on the grass,
Yeah.
and then again the he did the same on one of the curbs. What do you think, like, as Max Verstappen, if for example he didn't get that penalty, would you be frustrated on the FIA?
Oh, absolutely. You see, towards like it's not just this year, towards the end of every year, Max gets extremely aggressive with his racing. Like a couple of years back, you saw how he was in Sao Paulo against Perez. And then this year, now with Lando here, he gets a lot more aggressive to get more points towards the end of the season. And he will go all out for it. It's just that some things won't need to be, discussed about with the FIA, and some things will, right? This was one of those instances. And I'm very glad that they came to that conclusion and did not just let it go as, it was a tight corner or a tight space and Lando had to go off. They were having a battle. I'm just glad it wasn't like that because it was very obvious that this was the scenario. And Max did try to push him off. And I'm glad he got what he deserved because otherwise I would have been really, really pissed off with the FIA.
I agree on Wish. I agree with Wish on this topic actually, because Max, look, we have to understand as Formula One viewers and analytical, individuals, that Formula One in the last five races get very competitive because this is their only chance to get points, prove themselves, and also to show other team members that we are not slacking, even though it's the last 4 to 5 races. And this is very important as this shows projections and predictions for next year's involvement. The stronger you end, the stronger you start. That's how it is with Formula One, and this is always going to be the case, especially for the especially for the first four powerful, most strongest teams on the grid, which is Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, and I'm going to say Mercedes and Aston Martin on the same proximity. But I feel like if I have to say the top three teams that are very competitive at this point, I'm going to say obviously Red Bull's on top of the list, Ferrari for a change, and McLaren. I think Mercedes is playing on their back foot for the next few races, just trying to finish the race. Do not have any DNFs, come at least in the top, if not top eight, but at least top five. And Lewis did that exactly. He came P4. They're playing it safe. They don't want to do anything that could cost them extra money or extra energy or time. And I think that's the right way to go about because they know their position is not that strong, but they're playing on the strengths. They know their weaknesses. And that's how you are supposed to go, from my
Of course.
understanding. So please agree or disagree with me, Vish and Arjunam, on this topic.
Makes sense, absolutely. Because yes, they did say, Mercedes that you can race each other. I think they told George that you guys can race each other, but at the same time, they wanted to play it safe because they know that they're stuck in the middle. Even if you see the constructors or the drivers' championship, they're stuck in the middle, right? George is getting there by slowly because he's getting top five or top six every other race or every race, and they aren't. I think Lewis going to Ferrari next year is just, we've discussed this. He's like he's moved on, right? He's got there. George knows that he's gonna be the front runner next year. He knows he's gonna have to, like, take care, not take care of Kimi, more like be like a little like unsaid mentor to Kimi because he's just getting into Formula One, and he needs to show that he can be level-headed and not fight, and I mean not fight his own teammate, right? So they have to have that balance, and I think Mercedes is showing that towards the end. They know they're not going to win the constructors. They know they're not going to win the drivers' championship. So they're just staying where they are and maintaining that level, which, in my opinion, is quite admirable.
Fair
Arjun, what
enough.
do you think?
Fair enough. See, because even say let's, as you said, like Mercedes is in their own league, I would say, because the gap now with Red Bull. Wow, it feels interesting to say the gap with
Yeah.
Red Bull instead of gap with Ferrari. Like it's. I think it's like a good 100 plus points, and with Aston Martin, which is fifth, that's roughly around 280 points. So for them, it's win or lose. And on track again with Mercedes, with the recent crashes of George Russell, Toto Wolff actually said during one of the press conferences that they are in serious limit of the cost cap. That because of all these crashes, they are seeing themselves in potential breach of cost cap. Because again, it's not easy to fix a Mercedes or a Formula One car.
Yeah.
As in, that's the reality. But it's just that again they're doing whatever they can do. It's the last four races for Hamilton. He's like, okay, let's see what's coming up. I really wish him to even win the next race because Brazil is his second home and his second nationality. So I really wish him win there, at least like do like a proper 1-2 sort style. Coming back to the Mexican Grand Prix, I don't know if you guys have seen Hamilton had that same moment he had back in Silverstone, where like two drivers and then there goes Hamilton, unbelievable stuff sort of thing, where
Yeah.
Hamilton overtook, like
Mm-hmm.
just is out of front of me. He's like, okay, I'm on the inside line. Let me just overtake and just kind of go through. Like for me, I'm like Hamilton is actually with him. He's training himself a lot more harder just so that he can match the reaction times as someone like Oscar Piastri, who is one of the youngest on the grid. Not the youngest, one of the youngest, because we've seen
Yeah.
even more younger people come down to the grid now. But yeah, but Mihir, again, you've been observing Mercedes. You've been observing Mercedes for like ages, and that you've been like what do you call? If there was a religion, that would be called Hamilton sort of thing. I want to know, like, again, when you saw that two-way fight between Russell and Hamilton, were you more like, okay, Russell will just easily let Hamilton off, or he will give him a bit of a hard time and play the hard game before letting him off?
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you on the fact that Mercedes cannot make a rookie mistake. Now, when I say a rookie mistake, I bluntly mean do not race with each other to a point where it gets aggressive. You can race each other. But don't race to threaten each other to a point where it could be a bad sign or a red flag. Racing is all about finding the gaps and clearing up the gaps. But you should also know that when your team is not doing that well, racing together may seem like a immature state of doing things currently. I generally feel that it was a bad idea for them to race together. Obviously, Hamilton pulled an amazing move. That's hammer time. For people who know what hammer time is, hammer time used to be Lewis's slogan when he used to dominate the tracks in the old days when he was just flying by Mercedes and um, Red Bull, and he used to be. I really miss those days, Arjun. Genuinely, I think those were the best days when Hamilton was just dominating Formula One, and we used to sip on pints and beers and Just relax, and we know Mercedes is gonna come top like five and top three. Anyway, yeah, but I answered your question. Masterclass. I think Lewis is a masterclass driver, and there's a lot more potential in Ferrari. I'm assuming that he will pull out before he retires.
A championship winning drive.
Yes. I'm hoping for Lewis to at least dominate next season with the Ferrari car. Obviously, it's going to be very different and difficult for him to settle down, but I don't think that should be an issue.
Again, time is gonna tell
Yeah.
us how
Um.
this has been the case, how it's gone the case. But at least the good news is that's just that we're not having this year one team winning the races. We've got four teams and seven drivers, in which six of them have won multiple race wins, which indeed is such a good thing. We are seeing something quite nice. But again, I want to focus more on to the future of F1. So this week we have seen doing what you call free practices. We have seen new rookie drivers come in, and in that one of the drivers, he hasn't got an F1 seat booked yet. Theo Porche gets a five-place grid penalty. Didn't you see? This is. I feel this is more like how Jensen Button got on his last race. He's got a three-place grid penalty. I'm just feeling this is like the same thing. FIA being FIA. Like back in the day, still the same today. Wait, anyone there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
look honestly. I feel like there's a lot of backstory to everything that Formula One is today as well, and considering what you just said,
Mhm.
it brings like nostalgic feelings. I miss the old days of Formula One. You know, it wasn't about branding, it wasn't about marketing. It was just the driver, the skill set, and the set of tires, and the Camel and the Marlboro advertisements and ads coming up and down. I think those were the best years of Formula One.
I
Even though
feel,
I haven't watched them,
Williams actually
I
tried to bring that camel livery back again. They mimicked it somehow.
did try to. Yeah.
But sorry, I kind of caught you off.
No. You it's McLaren, right?
Who?
You said McLaren tried to do it. The
No, no,
Marlboro.
no. Williams tried to do it.
Oh, Williamson. I think Williamson can do it because wasn't one
It
of
was
their
a Williams
main
car back
sponsors
then.
Martini? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Wasn't their sponsor a Martini, the alcoholic brand
it
as
was
well?
Williams.
Oh
It was Williams only who got
yeah,
the Martini covered car. That one was driven by Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas and Lance Stroll.
jeez. Wait, okay. Okay, sorry. I just have a very important question to ask. Also for the listeners, what do you think on Toyota and Haas? I'm pretty sure you've heard about how Toyota is trying to. No, well, for the listeners out there, Toyota is really not trying to get into Formula One, but they are supporting Haas in their development and engineering side of it.
Mhm.
And what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that Ferrari being not a part of development with Haas and Toyota coming in this picture is this a good projection for Haas for the future?
You know what? From the fine print, what I've understood, it's still that Haas will still be a Ferrari customer team. Will use Ferrari engines. Will use
Mm-hmm.
some certain parts which Ferrari produces for its own cars. Toyota's partnership is going to come more on the technical side, probably on the aero and stuff. So basically, because Haas is using the wind tunnels at Maranello. Okay. With this, the plan is
Mm-hmm.
just that they're going to use the wind tunnels of Toyota Gazoo Racing in Germany, if I'm not wrong, which are a lot more modern. And for a team like Haas, they can work it out easily. And initially, when this thing happened, there was this joke which was going around, which was like, Haas will be the most durable car in the F1 grid with the Toyota partnership, because Toyotas are known for
You know,
durability in the
I
first place. But again, that was a joke, to be very honest. But like since that partnership being announced, Haas's performance has been amazing. Like, from what we used to call that as a plastic car, it's now really, really, really getting on to that midfield that Haas right now is just, what do you call, 40 points away from Aston Martin. They've got four races, 10 points each. At least they managed to score over the next four races. And Aston Martin not score even a single point. Haas will easily climb up to the fifth position on the constructors. And again, I personally
With the way
feel
they're going,
they can do it.
I know with the way they're going with their double podiums. I mean, might as well not double. Talking about double points. I mean, might as well go for it.
Um, okay, so basically, I want to get into this technical side of Haas now.
Yeah.
Look, I think Toyota is a mass producing organization. Obviously, everyone knows that, and everyone knows that Toyota means reliability. Okay, and Toyota has always been in this mindset that, well, even when they manufacture cars, we need to build something that's cost effective, yet something that can last for years and years, even if you trash them. That's why UAE has one of the biggest contracts with Toyota. The cabs are Toyota,
Yeah.
right? The vans, Toyota. The 7-Eleven seaters, Toyota, right? When you go off-roading, right? All these desert safari, organizations and companies, they take Toyota because it's reliable. And I have no issues, and I feel like it's one of the greatest things that Haas is doing so far to change things up because they really needed someone who can help them with the development, testing, and obviously you can have a Ferrari engine. It's a thing, where you can be the perfect fit, but if your surroundings are not perfect, you can't know its full potential, and that's where things come up. Haas is a very potential team. It has the right equipment, they have the right engineering team, they have everything going for them, but they don't have a right testing facility. That now that Toyota has come into the situation, I think things might change, and I think because of this, the confidence for Haas has gone up. That's why we see quite a bit of improvements in the last few races that we've seen with them.
Well, the last four races, Haas has at least managed to score a point. And this time it's double
Yeah.
the trouble. And again, both the drivers, Nico Hulkenberg, an amazing driver. Again, I don't know what is his. He must be regretting right now, being like, why am I going to kick Sauber? Because it's not even managed to get a point. He would be regretting his decision. And Haas
Yeah.
would have been more than happy to extend his contract. He was consistently getting points. So both of them, again, I feel like now they've got the machine in their hand. Now it's only a matter of time they get those cars where it should be. Again, if it's a P5, if they get a P5, then it is basically back onto their glory days. But yes, keeping Haas aside, I want to talk about Liam Lawson. I don't like him. Thought okay would be a nice guy, and personally, like when especially after Daniel Ricciardo exit in Formula One, and then he coming into picture, like then itself, I didn't like him. Now I've got more reasons to not like him. Again,
I don't know what he was doing.
but he was messing up with Fernando Alonso. And Fernando Alonso is someone who celebrated his 400th Grand Prix weekend versus Liam Lawson. He must have had what his fifth Grand Prix weekend of his
Fourth.
career, fourth. Yeah, so Fernando can say like I've done like 100 times more than what you did. Um, and and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's with that guy. Even on Sergio Perez,
Mm,
he kind of
yeah.
flashed
Yeah.
him. Like, come on, like you should not be immature on track. Like there is some
Exactly what I
some
was gonna
some
say.
sort of decorum we keep in Formula One. That like if Max is getting what do you call community service for swearing over radio, Lawson should get far more than that. He must be
Mm.
basically sat on for a class of basic ethics. Like I just
No,
don't
you're not
understand.
wrong.
And even on track, like even Sergio Perez was saying, like he's not a clean driver. He's not a clean driver. He really what do you call one? I think he's really in the pressure to prove, oh, I should be the one to be taken to Red Bull next year for Sergio Perez instead. He's really like, oh, I want to do this, but then he is deliberately making a lot of mistakes. And again, some of them I just feel like again he may have his inexperiences, of course, but the last year Sergio Liam Lawson, who I saw in that AlphaTauri versus this year's Liam Lawson, which I've seen in that V carb, are polar opposites. What do you guys think?
That's the thing, though, Arjun. Not just once, but twice, he was brought in to replace Daniel Ricciardo, right? It's a boost to his ego and a bruise to Daniel's. And all of this is just trying to show off the fact that, oh, I am much more deserving of that seat, and you should have chosen me and not him instead. And the whole mindset of, choose me for next year, I think that's off the table for Red Bull at this point because disrespecting not just Alonso, but one of the Red Bull drivers like that, not the best. And I feel, and what I have heard is that they're looking at Franco for Red Bull next year,
Again, he deserves a
or
seat.
even yes, he absolutely deserves a seat, and that's something that people at Red Bull, including Helmut Marko, has talked about Franco Colapinto getting a seat. And I don't think Helmut Marko's going to talk about or even try to discuss Liam Lawson anymore.
Fair enough. Sounds fair. Sounds fair. Mihir, what do you think?
Honestly, of this whole situation, I feel like I'm trying to think of an answer which could be very different from, obviously, because I don't want to repeat anything because that's wasting the listeners' time. He's under a lot of pressure, I would say. Being there are so many drivers on the grid, and there's so many drivers who want to be in his seat, who could be better or no less better, or maybe they just took him because at that time he was the best driver. People change in different environments, and I think you should let him off loose. Okay, he's again. I keep saying this on every podcast, and I'm going to say it again. We are sitting in AC hotels and commenting on these things. We don't know what these guys are going through, and honestly, if you don't have the right mindset and the right mood while racing, things are gonna come out. Also, you're under so much of pressure with everything that's going around. You have the radio talk, then you also have gear changes, and then you have to concentrate on distance, the corners, the apex. So it's a very valid thing sometimes when you are aggressively talking or very immature, because that's fine. That's comes he'll mature up as time goes by. Look at Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, when he gets into a crash in these days, or if he makes a mistake, he says, "I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep my head down and keep racing," and that's how racing should be. So it's okay. You know what? I wouldn't think about it too much. Obviously, if he does it after, let's say, in the next 3 to 4 years, and if he's still like this, then obviously he hasn't matured up as a driver, and the team should really look into replacing him, because there's a class and there's an ethical way of doing things, and he's learning. So that's okay.
Wow, that's a very different perspective, which I thought of someone saying it. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, like again, I did say what I had to say about Liam Lawson. But yeah, just to kind of wrap it up there, it's just like again, for a fan, I didn't enjoy it much, to be very honest. But yeah, coming back onto oh, we didn't talk about Ferrari, did we?
Ooh.
We
No,
didn't
I don't
talk
think
about
we did.
Ferrari. The actual big elephant in the room was Ferrari. Again, Max got the first, like on the first turn itself, got the job done, overtook. Cool. But still, Carlos Sainz did a fantastic job. Again, Carlos at a point was just like, Ricky, I don't think I need to push this hard. I can go normally, it's fine.
Honestly, he's like,
I was
I'm
like,
flying,
oh, okay,
man.
this
I'm good.
guy, like, what's his plan? Is he trying to pull like another Singapore over here? Like controlling the pace of the
Oh,
race? And literally it was like the same pod, like it was the same podium, except instead of Lewis, it was Charles Leclerc. Because it was Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc. Um, but yeah, what a drive. He was really calm, head down, and the Ferrari bought a new upgrade package which got like max cooling, so again the car wouldn't do its overheating business. But in that one, again, that 1-2 of Ferrari, I was really excited. I was like, okay, we are having a real intense fight over here. And then comes that snag from Charles Leclerc on turn, like on the final 10 onto the main straight, messes out, goes through the dirt. Lando Norris whooshes through,
that
and yeah, I was like, shit, this guy's not gonna get anything now. Again, keeping Lando Norris rear mirror is fine, but racing and catching him is a task, which not all drivers can do. But yeah, what do you guys think?
there's
Like
Yes, I
Ferrari,
agree with you, Arjun.
Ferrari kind of coming up, like I'm pretty much liking this. It feels a lot more like again. Everyone is saying in this past decade or so, the only teams that won was a Red Bull or a Mercedes. Now, if to that mix we get a Ferrari or a McLaren, which were one of which are the OG teams, this is just for Formula One is just going to get a lot more exciting. Like Ferrari versus McLaren. When was the last time we have heard that?
No, it's
oh last year.
sorry. Yeah. I think It's a very weird combination, obviously, because we usually associate Ferrari with Mercedes or Red Bull for so long, and now that there's an opportunity of a lifetime to see Ferrari and McLaren, it's going to be a great primary color race. And, I call it the primary color races because it's orange and red. It's two of my favorite colors when I was a child. And um, just, I'm so sorry, that's my term. But yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. Two, well, I'm going to say Mercedes engine car with um, obviously Ferrari. It's going to be very exciting. Two very competitive drivers. Very competitive teams, four very competitive drivers. All I hear is Netflix making money out of this.
Well, no one expected that coming out.
Yeah, well, let's be honest, Arjun and Vish and Nathan. I'm gonna include Nathan in this because we're talking about Ferrari. This is something that's Formula One now has become a marketing gimmick. It's not pure racing. It's more on how do you present yourself to
Mhm.
other teams, to the crowds, to potential investors. So I think they're gonna make a lot of money out of this.
Of
Yes,
course.
Don't do you think, Arjun and Vish?
Definitely. Like, I feel
absolutely.
like, in
I mean,
fact, again, something outside Formula One, Netflix actually had its share value increased by nearly 27%, I think, last week. And it
That's
was
massive.
massive.
Also,
It
I'm
was
very excited for the Formula One movie coming out.
oh, I know,
like the
right?
like the F1 movie is not coming with Netflix, it's coming with Apple TV. Thank God, because it should not be
Hmm.
always all eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah,
Because I personally feel
Just
like,
imagine the
okay, say
drama.
for example, after 2026, if broadcasting rights kind of move to Apple, for example, I would think Netflix won't even be allowed in that scene. It will be like an Apple TV exclusive or something, probably. But I
honestly,
don't
that Apple TV. Not that I know this is a Formula One podcast, but Apple TV is not really dominating in the web series industry right now. It's Hulu, Netflix, obviously, Prime. So I guess this could be the one of the most efficient ways to get people to buy Apple TV, at least for the first month. They can obviously
know.
unsubscribe, but they'll get a revenue back on that.
Well, like, I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
say more
let's
because
see.
I am a subscriber myself to Apple TV with my iCloud
Yeah,
iCloud subscription.
yeah, so
Uh,
have I. I have Apple One, so I have.
exactly, no, the same. I've got Apple One as well. So again, for me, it's kind of coming in whether I like it or not. But then I remember back in
Yeah,
uni, it was like
yeah,
for uni students, Apple TV is complimentary along with Apple Music. So
Seriously?
yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing.
And you didn't tell me that? Oh God.
You never asked us
Again, we
that.
never had this chat in the first place.
I
That's a
am
problem.
curious.
Like, we
True.
never had this
It's
chat, so that's why
fine.
Okay.
we never ended up talking about it. But it's a thing.
No.
But anyways, again, such an amazing race. Mexico, being feisty as always, and yeah, Ferrari being as good as it looks. The Scarlet Ferrari is doing its job. Again, I don't know who actually gave this kind of nickname, the Scarlet Red. Like, again, and sometimes instead of
Oh,
Scuderia
seriously?
Ferrari, I end up saying the Scarlet Ferrari. Like, like but sometimes I actually, when I see Ferrari, I get the Lightning McQueen vibes now. If you're a cars fan,
Especially Carlos's car because it's like yellow as well, right?
exactly. So definitely. So yeah, moving on to sorry. Moving on to Interlagos, the final race on the triple headers in the Americas, and then we go to the final leg, which is Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. For which I'm going
Oh
again.
God, don't make me even more jealous.
Yeah, I am going as part like on the McLaren hospitality. I'm getting a hospitality ticket.
Shut up. Shut up.
How much I can
Shut
make
up.
someone jealous?
You, a Mercedes fan, cannot do this to me, a McLaren fan.
No, personally, I'm not big. I'm not at all happy about this because I actually wanted to support Lewis, wear the Mercedes team kit, and go down there and support for Lewis. instant I have to
His last
wear something
Mercedes
generic and
drive.
then go for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But anyways, coming back to Interlagos. I mean, here, can you just give like a bit of an understanding of the Interlagos circuit? Yeah, so Formula One will race next week at the Interlagos, or what it is otherwise known, like its official name is San Jose. Wait, hold on, let me get the right name right. It is the Autodromo Jose Carlos Space. So
Yes, you're right. And it
go for it.
obviously Arjun said the name of the track. It is 4.3 kilometers with the lap of 71 laps, and the total distance, race distance, is 305.8 kilometers. And Valtteri Bottas did a lap record of 1 minute 10 seconds and 5.4. Now it's a pretty precise and easy looking track. It is, but this track is for the cars that are super quick on the turns. They can understand, they can push through, they can save some energy on a few corners, which is corners 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they can push through on section 3 and section 1. Section 2 is mainly to overtake, and sections 1 and 3 is to dominate and overlap a few cars that cannot reach or surpass Red Bull and McLaren, and surprisingly, Ferrari.
All
And
right.
I just want to give it up and say that I will be posting a very detailed 30-second reel. So if you guys have any questions regarding the racetrack, you can always text or DM us, or you can always comment on the post itself.
All right. Thanks for those quick circuit analysis. And yeah, one thing with Interlagos, just wanted to
Yeah,
add
but
is sorry, go on. With Interlagos, one of the things is the rain, because the past couple of races of happened at Interlagos, rain has come as a blessing and has turned things around. So
Oof.
there is, again, I don't know how the weather forecast talks about it, but if it rains, then we have some interesting things happening on that circuit. Again, not it is
Mhm.
not a very heavy braking zone track with only six braking zones, only the main turn one coming up at 5.5 g deceleration. um but yeah, we'll see how that goes, and let's give in our final predictions before we wrap up the show for the day. Predictions on who gets pole and who wins the race. Let's go. Starting off with me here.
I'm going to say Red Bull, Ferrari, Ferrari.
Okay.
Hmm,
What makes you tell Max
interesting.
Verstappen is going to clinch this
I
one?
laugh. Cheeky idiot. What do you think? Why do you think Max is gonna win this?
Because, well, let's be very honest, he was very frustrated this race, so he's going to do everything to come podium.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
Max has been
by
frustrated
all
for a lot of
means,
races recently, so again, I don't know.
Exactly.
But you know,
but
like
you
He
also need
hasn't
to,
won in
since
what, 4 months?
what?
sorry to break you off, guys, but you also need to understand that the Interlagos track itself, it's known to be quite quick, with very soft corners and a lot of straight lines. And this is where, this is where Red Bull can really push, dominate everything to do with racing here. So not too many turns. I think I counted maybe 6 corners that in the race itself in section 2, but section 1 and 3 are relatively just curves.
Mm-hmm.
So Red Bull could potentially pull P1, P2, or Ferrari might do something.
Red Bull pulling a P1, P2, I don't think that's possible with the way Perez is going.
No, but you also need to understand that the Red Bull cars are very, very quick on straight lines compared to, well, other Formula One cars.
Mm,
Well, I
So
got to give it
Perez
a.
potentially
I
could,
need to defend that a bit because I feel like now that's not Red Bull, that's Ferrari. I feel because Ferrari has got the straight line speed.
yeah.
but you need to also understand that. Well, that's why I said Red Bull, Ferrari, Ferrari. So that could definitely change up and down. The reason why I
Okay.
said Red Bull is because they're frustrated, and this seems like a relatively easier track compared to the other tracks. And if it rains, then things could get interesting.
Then the experienced pals will kind of do the job.
I
Exactly.
All right,
feel
Richard.
like it's gonna be. I feel like Ferrari are gonna continue their streak and have another win.
Okay.
Followed by a McLaren and then a Mercedes actually.
So you're saying a Ferrari, Ferrari,
Mhm.
McLaren?
Because I'm saying a Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Because George and Lewis do quite well
Okay.
in Interlagos is what I feel, and I feel like who knows? It would be nice to see them back on the podium, especially Lewis.
Well,
Granted that
I'm going to give a bit of a different, what do you call, prediction, and please don't be shocked. I would say it will be a Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes.
both works on.
Both Mercs on.
Interesting.
Again,
Very
the reason me
interesting.
saying that is just because, again, I feel this track is a lot similar to Silverstone, but you've not got hard braking zones. It's a lot more softer. And if they manage to bring up the same Silverstone setup to this track, I don't see a reason why they cannot compete for the podium. So, like,
I
yeah, so
mean, it
that's
would be
why, like,
nice.
I personally feel a Mercedes definitely will happen on the podium. But again, we gotta see. That's what I feel like. Again, if not on qualifying, at least on the race, they will do the job. Unless we have got the back markers ending up doing some nasty things and getting so much debris on the track that just like Fernando Alonso retired, makes one of the Mercs retire. Oh God, let that not be a thing. I really wish that's not a thing. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much for tuning on to another episode of Formula Pod. I think we were a lot faster today on the episode, right? It was just like
Yeah.
we never we haven't managed to hit our 1 hour mark, which has been the recent case. But yeah, now it has reached a point where Nathan has told that if he stops watching Formula One races, Ferrari will definitely win the championship. We have reached in that level, so
I don't think he's watching the next one as well. So
no, again, I don't know. He told he will join us for the next episode, so he will definitely watch it. but again,
I
if
Afzal,
he but again if he
so
wants
sorry to
Ferrari
break you
to
guys.
win, then he'll
I
stop
think
watching
we
it. All right, then that's pretty much it. Until next time, the entire crew of Formula Pod is signing off, and yeah, see you next week from Brazil. Till then, goodbye.